Greetings everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. This week, patrons voted on having me focus on a fall scene. So I'll try to do a simple fall scene here, and it's perfect because fall's around the corner. We'll have a good time playing with color here and seeing where it takes us. If you'd like to give a vote on what I should teach next, please check out my Patreon page down below. Let's jump straight to it and go over the materials needed for today. So, I love to use golden acrylics, and we need titanium white, ultramarine blue, NAPHTHOL red light, cadmium yellow, and carbon black. For brushes, we need this blending brush set, LOFT brushes, and we got this inch flat brush. It's a little rough on the edges, but it'll be good for adding the grass effect. If you have any inch flat brush, it should work. And a double round detail brush for the details. Also, I don't use this often, but I like to experiment, and so there's these artist sponges. You can get in any store, Michael's, or any art store. They should have them. They come in a pack, so they could be differently shaped, but we're gonna use this for today for adding our leaves on the trees. I'll show you how to do that. Of course, you need a palette knife to mix your paint, any jar of water to put your brushes in when you're not using them, and then you need some paper towels. And I believe that should be it for today. Let's get to painting. Okay, so here's what I got. I got titanium white and about the same amount of titanium white and a touch of yellow here and ultramarine blue here. And we're gonna mix these two shades and seeing what color it gives me. It should be pretty light, so it should be more on the, more on the whiter side. So we're gonna do the background first, the sky. We're gonna work from furthest point to the closest. And the furthest point is the sky, so we're gonna add the colors of the sky first. I quickly added another shade here. I'd like to make 3 shades, so I added a blue and a little bit of white here, and I mixed that. I just want a little darker shade of blue. I want a nicer transition into the lighter blue. So mixing this first, right there, that's pretty good. And then we're gonna mix our last color right here, this touch of yellow and white. And I might actually bring a little bit of blue here. So I'm gonna grab this and mix it here. Make it a little greenish, I guess. Okay, that's pretty good. I like it right there. So we got these 3 shades. This is the lightest, and then this is the second lightest, and then this is the darkest. So what we're gonna do with these is we're gonna start with adding the lightest, and we're gonna add it right in the middle, right here. Our horizon line is gonna be right in the middle of this canvas. And we're gonna add this lightest color right here, and then kind of blend everything out into the darkest. So we're gonna add it here, and then we're gonna go with the second color here, and then the darkest color on the edges. And then I'm also gonna add a little like river going here. Okay, a little river. We're gonna draw that in there and add a little reflection. And then, oh yeah, and then also this is a 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can use any canvas you have, and it really depends how big your canvas is. That's how much of paint you have to put on your palette, because here I'm using almost 2 thumbs full, as you could see, and I'm gonna cover, you know, half the canvas here and a little bit on the bottom. So that's how much paint I'm using. But it is, depending on the size of the canvas you're using, you might need a little more or less. So now I'm gonna grab my water jar, my fluffy brush, and dab it halfway and squeeze it out. Have your brush be a little wet. And we're gonna grab our first color, the lightest color we have here, right in the middle. Just gonna grab it and I'm gonna put it right about here, okay? Just right here. And our river is going to be about right in here, and it'll kind of go straight down like this. So add some of this color right here as well, okay? And here we just put it everywhere. Dab your brush in the water, and this is how I do it. I just dab it halfway, like not even halfway, just a teeny bit. Okay, so it could be wet, so it could run smooth on the canvas. And so I'm adding my first color. Right about there. Okay. And then our second color, just around where we left off. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm dabbing my brush in the water like I showed you. And then add some here. This is where the river will be, so. Dabbing my brush in the water and quickly blending the colors in. Okay, and then for the final color, we're gonna grab our final color, the darkest one, and add that in the corners here. Right about there. And then here, I'm just gonna cover it up. Right there. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is just roughly, you know, dab it and blend it in lightly, and then we're gonna clean our brush out. And what I do is I just kind of clean it out like this, lightly press down, get most of the paint out. And then once you feel like you've got most of the paint out, you just squeeze it out and use a paper towel to dry out your brush. So I squeezed it out and lightly, you know, take most of the water out, swirl it onto your paper towel, and right about there. There you go. So it's still damp, but it's also not as wet. And so what we're gonna do is start from the bottom and just lightly dab and swirl it. And, you know, blend in the colors. Right there. Now you don't want to carry your darker colors back up here. Your first round when you blend, you want to go outwards and don't bring the paint backwards because your brush is now carrying the darker paint. You don't want to do that. See, if I do that, look, if I'm going up to the corner and I'm trying to bring the color back because I want to blend this area, see what happens? I bring that color back up in here, and I don't want that to happen. So make sure you blend everything in nicely first, and then if you need to blend again, do the same process, clean the brush out and use the paper towel and do it again. So that's the first round, and then I clean the brush out, you know, do the same process. And to speed up the process, I have another one of these, and then so I'm gonna do that again and blend everything nicely. And sometimes with you'll get a little bit of the hair coming out of your brush, and that's totally okay. Don't worry about that. Don't try to pluck it out and take it out, because once you dry it out, you can actually scrape it off easily. So I'll show you how to do that. There's a little hair that fell right here. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm gonna blend everything in and blend the bottom here as well. There you go. That should do it right there. There you go. To speed up the process, I'm gonna use a hair blow dryer to dry out my painting. But this is, if you don't have one of these, this is a good time to kind of, you know, stand back, drink water, whatever you wanna do. Give it like about 10 minutes or 15 to sit and dry. All right, so now that it's dry, I'm gonna go over, and remember I told you about these hairs. There's a few of them that fell out. There's one here and one over here. I'm just gonna flake it out. See, it comes out easily. And there it is. Bam. The hairs are gone. And you know, hairs do fall out, but I've tried different kind of blending brush sets or you know, blending brushes. And by far, this one that I'm using is by far my favorite. It works the best for me. It doesn't, the hairs don't come out. I've had many people ask about that, so that's why I'm, you know, showing you guys how I deal with it. But it's really not that big of a deal once you know what you're doing. So I hope this will help you guys out and take care of that little problem. Okay, let's move on to the next steps. So as you can see, we added our first layer, and we have this glowy effect here, and it kind of, you know, spreads out and becomes darker on the edges. Now you could totally just make it plain and not have that, but adding these kind of little details like that will really make your painting pop out once you start adding more layers. So now let's add our background. So the next thing what we're gonna do is add far behind trees. To create depth, we're gonna add like a very, you know, far in the background there's a few little colorful trees. So we're gonna do that, and what I got here is ultramarine blue and red and a little bit of white. We're gonna quickly mix that, and it should give us this, you know, like pinkish purplish color, and that's what we want. So I'm gonna create two shades. So I'm gonna have this one, and then I'm gonna do another one that will be a little more bluer, okay? And lighter. Right there, so I added a little bit of blue and a touch of white, and I'm just gonna carry some of this leftover paint here. Maybe bring a little bit, you don't have to do this part, but basically what I'm trying to do is get a lighter blue shade. But I want it to be a little darker than this shade. You see? So make sure you don't add too much white. Right there. And I like to add with a little bit of paint in the beginning because I'm not sure what colors it'll give me. So when I mix, I will see if I need to add a little bit more white or blue to the color to get to at least to the closest color that I would like. And so that's why I start with a little bit of paint, because it always ends up building up. But here you go. I'm gonna add actually a little more of white, just a little bit more. There you go. Now we're ready to add our far trees. And this, we're just gonna use inch Artist Loft brush right here. It's a rough one, but what we're gonna do is dab it halfway in the water, squeeze it out, and what we're gonna do is grab our shade here, and we're gonna create a few little trees here. And what we're gonna do is kind of just dab it in there, and it doesn't have to be perfect. These are like far in the distance trees. So I'm just creating some of these trees going down like this, using water, a little bit of water, and this color. Okay. And as we go out here, I'm gonna add the blue color next. So now I'm gonna grab my blue and add some blue in there. Maybe add some blue in here as well. You see what it does? Creates like very beautiful highlights. That's what we want. Right about there, and here. Continue with this color. I'm going to dab it a little bit in the water, and this is the fun part. You can have your trees look taller or shorter, whatever you'd like. And just fade it out here like this. Just like that. And as you get lower here, you can add this reddish color, the darker color on the bottom. Just on some areas, wherever you think, you know how the bottom can get a little darker, because the light is hitting the tips of these trees. Right there. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of more red in my palette right here, and mix it with this color right here. It's just going to be a little darker red right there, just a little darker. And I'm going to grab that color and put it right in here on the bottom. Maybe bring it up a little bit to the tree like this. There you go. And we're done with our background trees. You can spend as much time and detail as you know, as you want, and add your branches and, you know, make it more detailed and have fun with it. This is your painting. You can create the painting and have fun in any way you'd like. There you go, just to add a few little branches sticking out randomly. There you go. Now I'm gonna, just to add a few little more details, I'm gonna grab this leftover blue here, mix it with a little bit of white here. Maybe grab some of this red, make it a little pinkish. These are far, far away trees in the distance. Okay, so right there. So what we're gonna do is use the same brush. I'm gonna clean it out real quick here. Use a paper towel to dry it out, so it won't carry too much water. And I'm gonna grab this, dab it into our brush, and on the tips right here, just on the tips, add this lightest color. The sun is hitting some of these areas here and it's super bright. Maybe a little bit in here, just on the tips of your painting, of your trees. Just dab it lightly, don't press too hard. There you go. That's more like it. There you go. And now we are ready to move on to the next layers. There. So next, we're gonna add grass and add a few more little trees. And what I got here is a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, white, and touch of red, yellow, and yellow I have here the most, and then second most is blue, and then white, and less red. Same thing here, I just added more white here. So these are pretty much the same color almost. And then here I have black, yellow, and white. So I'm just gonna mix this first, and what I'm gonna do is, so I won't waste this paint, I'm just gonna drag it and put it here. Mix our grass. It should be like greenish, orangey color, almost like brown, but it is still green. Right there. And then our next shade, they should be similar. But this one, I want to add more white to it. So that's why I made two of them, because I wanna, on one of them I wanna add a little more white, and that's this one. So we're going to do that real quick right now. So here's what I have, like a thumb, and just mix all that in. I know it might be a lot, but we're going to use a lot of it to add our grass along the edges here. So right there. There you go. And then our final color, black, yellow, and a little bit of white. Grab a little bit of this color, make it a little bit lighter so it won't be too dark. But that's good right there. There you go, we have our 3 shades. Yours could be a little lighter or darker, that's totally fine. So here I decided to add another shade. I'm gonna add like a darker orange color. And I have red, yellow, and white. And I'm just gonna mix this real quick, see what color it should give me. It's going to give me, but that is good. So I like this color. That's kind of what I wanted. A darker orange color. Because it's fall, and you know, we see a lot of orangey colors, yellows, greens, just a lot of color. Pink and all that. We're gonna add all those colors onto our canvas here. So we have these colors, now we can start adding our grass. Okay guys, I promise one more shade. I want to add one more shade and then we can go ahead and start working. So I just, straight out of the tube, add black, and then I'm just going to grab a little bit of this green color here and this dark orange color and mix that in there, and that's it. That'll be our darkest shade here, right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we don't want it straight black straight out of the tube because it's gonna be too dark. Okay, so there you go. So now what we're gonna do is grab our inch brush, flat brush, lightly dab it in the water, just a little bit, squeeze it out. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab this green color right here. And then first things first is I'm going to like draw a little horizon line here far in a distance. So I'm gonna dab it lightly. About up to here. I'm not gonna, you know, go all the way. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of this black and kind of blend that in with my green, and you can fade it out. There you go. And then now once we added that, I'm gonna go ahead and go straight to my lightest color here and go ahead and start adding some grass far in the distance. And I'm just dabbing it and just pulling it from one side to another. And you can have fun, you know, what you can do is grab a little bit of this orange, add some color in your grass, and one layer, add this orange, and then grab some of this green, go right next to it, and then you can grab this darker green, and I'm not gonna go all the way here because I'm gonna add some more bushes here. But what we're gonna do is grab this black, and here we're going to fade it out right in here. And so grab our white or the lightest color. And then just dab it in randomly. And like this. So grab our lightest color. Right there, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just dab it in there. Okay, and then next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our darkest color here, this shade. And this is where the river will begin, okay? I'm gonna have it right in here. And we're just gonna carry it like this. Okay. And then this is where the little land starts. So dab it in here, and then just gonna make a little turn here. Yours could be a little different than mine, so just have fun. And I hope you guys are, making it a little different than mine. So right about there. And I'm just first outlining where I want my water to be. So maybe I'll make this a little bigger, maybe like this. Okay, and then bring it out. And then bring it back in here. And then maybe just fade it out here. Up to this point. Right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just draw out your shape first. Okay. All right, so that will be our water right there. And then next, I'm gonna grab this orangey color right here. And we're gonna add it right in here. Right about there. We're gonna continue on with the lighter color right here and just start adding a few grassy areas onto our water here. Grab some orange. Split it up. So we're gonna have orange here, maybe orange, a little bit orange in here. About there. You know how fall colors are. They're random, they're all over. Make sure you have that. Right about there. Now I'm going to grab my green. And here, I'm going to grab a little bit of black and then draw a little hill here going down like this. Okay, and then drawing the greens here, just dab it in lightly. And then let's go with the lighter color for fun and fill it in here. I'm just dabbing. You can kind of pull it upwards too if you want as you get closer. Just cover your canvas with grass and leaves. Here I'm going to go darker green, pick it up a little bit, and then maybe grab some of this black, make it a little more dramatic here. Right. Now do the same thing here. You know, I'm randomly adding, just balancing it, everything out, making sure I have all my, you know, good, where I want my highlights and bumps and little hills to be. You can create as many as you want. So, for example, like if I wanted another little hill far behind the little one, I just added, you know, and faded out. Right there. Same thing here. Right here, for example. Add a little heel going upwards. Go. All right, we're gonna come back with the details in a little bit. So now before I continue, I'm gonna grab my different inch Artist Loft brush. I'm gonna make it a little damp and wet, and before I add more layers, I wanna make sure I cover all the canvas with the color. So I'm gonna lightly kind of blend everything in. Blend everything in lightly, make sure I have my canvas covered. And here we're gonna add more bushes and stuff, so we'll leave that there for now. There you go. Same thing here. Don't blend too much, just the areas where, you know, you see white canvas. I'm not trying to blend too much because I like the way the grass looks rough. Right there. Okay, so there you go. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of the black and add it right in here. This is the reflection from the water. I'm gonna clean my brush out real quick so it won't carry too much paint. Just with water, go over this bottom area real quick. I'm gonna clean that up. I think I added too much color there. Dab it in the water, use the paper towel and just, you know, clean it out, because we're gonna add a different color here. You'll see. I'm gonna add more shades in the water, so I'm not worried about that. There, that's fine. I'm gonna add more shades in the water anyway, and reflections. So let's add more detail in our grass. So I added a little bit of white and yellow here. And now I'm gonna grab this lightest color and mix it here. I'm gonna now create a little more highlights and stuff in our grass so that it won't look too monochromatic and one color. So now I'm gonna grab my inch brush, this one, and just dab it in my brush, the color, and I'm gonna start with the furthest distance right there. And I'm just gonna lightly dab it, bring that color in. Doesn't have to be perfect. You see, now it's starting to come out. There you go. And I'm gonna add this color on just some of the areas here, not everywhere. As you get closer, you wanna add less and less of this lighter color. Add a few here. Use the tip of your brush, just kind of dab it randomly. Right there. I think that's good enough here. And then on this side, do the same thing. Maybe add a few here. And of course, do the same thing. As you get closer, you want to make sure you're not adding too much here. Just a few areas. Right about there. There you go. Now I'm going to grab this orange color and mix it with my lighter color. I want to make it, actually, I'm going to make a new little shade. Grab a little bit of red and yellow. Right there. And then just a little bit of red and yellow and mix it. We just want a lighter orange. That's what we want. We don't want it to be too pink. I mean, you can, but I want a lighter orange. All right, here it is. A brighter orange color. We're gonna dab it and add a few orangey colors, brighter colors here. Okay. Some grass and leaves that fell on the ground changed the color of the grass. There you go, and then maybe some here. Just play around. There you go. All right, so now I'm gonna grab a little bit of more of this darker color and just create a few more little highlights here. And then we will be ready to move on to the next area. And we might come back later on the grass and add some more details and make it more, realistic, if you'd like. So I'm just using the brush and kind of dabbing it from, using my corner to dab it where I want. And I'm lightly pressing it, so I'm not doing it too hard. All right, that's good enough. Let's move on, guys. All right, so here's what I got. I just added yellow onto one of my greens here, and then red. And I'm just gonna grab this leftover orange and mix it with my red. I don't wanna use this red color straight out of the tube. You can if you want to though. So that's what I'm gonna use right there. And then for my next color, clean out my palette knife and then mix my next green here. There you go. And so now this is where this sponge comes in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dab it and put it in my water, squeeze it out. So I'm making it, you know, damp and wet. And you can see it's already old. I've used this many times. So what I'm gonna do is choose a corner and start with this green color. Choose a corner that works best, you see, right there. And start adding it. So remember this area that we left? So I'm dabbing it and creating some bushes here. There you go. And then on the bottom, I'm gonna add this red color. All right, right about there. Just dab it in. Maybe grab a little bit of the green and mix it in so it won't be too even. Right there. That's good right there. And what I'm gonna do is grab some white and just use some of the white, just pure white. And put it on the tips here. Just on the tips. Go. And then I'm gonna grab my Artist Loft brush now and grab some of this darker color and just add it right here on the bottom. Maybe, you know, go up a little bit, split it up. And about there. And then maybe it goes like this. There you go. That'll be good. Okay. And now a few little bushes here. There you go. Maybe add some here as well for fun. So grab this green color and a few little ones here. Maybe some here as well. Little bushes. Using the same technique. You could always fix it with this brush right here. Just lightly dab it. Fix the areas where you don't want too much, too intense. Right there. All right, now we're gonna add, I'm gonna add a few more red, just going up like this. Same thing here. go. And add a few of the highlights on one side of the tree. There, just on one side. There you go. Okay. Now let's add a bigger tree right here. And so we're gonna do the same idea. Grab this yellow, or I mean this green shade. Use our sponge, and I'm gonna make it a little bigger, right about there. And bring it down. See how nice that looks? And then here, grab the red. And there you go. Now I'm going to go back to my artist loft brush right here. And just cover some of this white area. Grab the red. Maybe bring it down here a bit. Grab some of this black and put it here on the bottom. You know, split it up. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of black right here. So this is a darker black color. I just grabbed it straight out of the tube, grabbed my sponge, and just on some of the areas right here on the bottom. There you go. That's good enough. Not everywhere. Right there. There you go. And I'm going to grab my artist loft brush and just kind of dab that in right here on the bottom, just the bottom area. Right there. There you go. again, use the same thing, this dark color. Kind of dab it around right here. Bring it upwards. Your black color right here. This is where it gets a little, the more details you add, it'll start to come out, you know. You can see once you start adding the black, you see the shapes are coming out more. Dab it in right here. Carry it upwards a bit. And you can fade it out. All right, so now I'm gonna grab a little bit of this red, and I want more of this red here with the black. Maybe some in here as well. Let's grab this red color. There you go. Much better. All right, let's add a few trees here now. So what I got is just black and white. And what I'm gonna do is grab some of this red, leftover red, and mix it with my black. And that will be it. It's still very dark. There you go. And then for our white, what I like to do is I'm gonna clean out my brush real quick. Use a paper towel to clean it out, and then I'm gonna grab, let's grab this orange, leftover orange, just a teeny bit, and mix it so it won't be pure white. You can grab a little bit of this green too. I don't want it to be pure white, that's why. Just trying to add a little color in my tree. So there you go. We'll use this. And now, this is the fun part. We're gonna grab one of the flat artists. You can grab a flat brush, 1/2 inch brush. I'm gonna use this artist LOFT brush. Dab it in the water. First things first is I'm gonna grab my darkest color here. And what I'm gonna do is add a few trees where I want them to be. So the first one, let's add it right in here, and I'm gonna kind of bend it. So I'm gonna bend it and go like this. Okay. Right in here. That's where our first tree will be. And this is a reflection of that tree. So next, we're gonna add a few trees here. that. Right by the water. And maybe one that's bent like this. Like that. There you go. And then next, let's add one right. How about right across, right here. Let's add one bending, also bending. There you go. And then another one facing away. Like that. There you go. And let's add a few bigger ones right in here. So one will be right in here, and this one's just gonna go straight. Bent a little bent actually. This one's gonna be a big one, as you could see. And this is our base first. That's why I'm using this darker color, because then I'm gonna use the lighter color to go over the edges, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So maybe this goes down like this. And for the reflection, I'm gonna add, just eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. There. Dabbing my brush in the water. I think it ends right there, so just eyeball it and follow along. And then this one is going to be going the other way, so I think it will end right in here. Okay. Right there, and then this one is a big one, and it will go like this. Okay, just eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I might draw one more little one. I'm gonna have it a little bent. So I think I'm gonna draw it right about here. And I don't know if I should bend it or not. No, I'm not going to. Just draw a little one far away in the distance. Right about there. Going down like this. There you go. And I think I will be good with my trees. So I'm gonna just add a little bit of the details here. And then here is the reflection. Just eyeball it, it doesn't have to be perfect. Right about there. All right. think it goes like this. There you go. Okay. All right, so now that we got that, I'm going to clean a little bit here. Just a little bit. We're gonna add branches and stuff, so a lot of this is gonna be, again, I'm gonna blend the water, make it more wavy and stuff. But just in case, there you go. So now what I'm gonna do is grab my detailed brush and add some fun little branches around the trees. So let's grab the same color, this darkest color right here. And I'm dabbing my brush in the water, so I'm working wet with my brush. And I'm gonna create some branches, okay? And so let's add some right in here, maybe one in here, maybe one goes out like this. Just add a few. You don't need to add a bunch. There, and then maybe one right in here. There you go. And then let's make this a little longer. Right there. So I'm dabbing my brush in the water and using this darker color here. There you go. Just add a few little branches. Just make your tree look nice and busy. There you go. That'll be good for that one. We can add some more later, but I will call it good for this one for now. And here, we're gonna add a branch kind of going down like this. There you go. Maybe one more here. Just like that. Okay. Next. And for the reflection, you can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. There you go. Next, we got this guy. Right there. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, and then maybe add a little branch sticking out like this. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Should I add a few more? Maybe one more here. There. It's good enough for that one. Now this, I'm just gonna eyeball it. There you go. Doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. Next, let's move on and add a few little branches here. Like that. Maybe one goes down like this. Here, I'm gonna probably go right about, let's say, right about right here. Just eyeballing it, trying to make a mirror effect. I'm going to add one here. There you go. Okay, and then a few little ones here. Just because I can. All right, next we have this tree. All right, this one will have a little branch bent like that, and a few little ones here. This one maybe kind of goes offside. All right. A few more little ones here. Okay, so now that we have the base down for our trees, I'm gonna clean my brush and use the same brush. And remember this color that we made? This lighter white color right here? We're gonna use that. And we're gonna put it on one side of our tree. Let's go ahead and put it on our left side. So what I do is just go over the branches, and maybe you might not get everything, but just put it on one side of the tree. Okay, you can see I'm splitting them, making sure so I just lightly press and fade it out, okay? Lightly press and fade it out. We want our trees to look realistic, so I'm using water and this color. Okay, just like that. And then just follow along some of these branches. Right about there. I'm gonna fade it out. There you go. And do the same to all your trees. All right, this is the fun part. First, before we start mixing, well, let's start mixing our leaf color. So I got a little bit of red, a lot of yellow and white. I'm gonna grab not the whole red here. Just grab this white, because I want to make this bright orange. That's what I want my leaves to be. It's more on the yellow side, okay? That's why I don't want to grab too much red. So that's perfect. That's the kind of leaves we're gonna have right here. So that's our first shade. Second shade, you can grab the remainder of that red, and I have red, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of white. And this is gonna be like a darker, almost like a hot pink color. Right there. That'll be our another color of leaves. And then, so we've got these two, and then we're gonna create one more shade, a lighter green shade. And I'm gonna grab yellow, just yellow, and ultramarine blue, just a touch of ultramarine blue. And I'm gonna clean my palette knife so I won't carry that red, because I want it pretty green. So yellow and a touch of blue. I'm gonna mix that, and that will be our green shade. Right there. Okay, we got our three shades, green, red, and light orange right here. And then also here I have a little bit of yellow. Actually, don't worry about this. What I was doing here is, I'm gonna grab my 1/2 inch Artist Loft brush. I'm gonna clean the brush out. And then what I'm gonna do is grab this orange and work transparent. So I'm gonna dab my brush in the water and grab this color, and I'm gonna add it on this tree, just a little bit right there. Just work transparent and blend it in so that your trees look colorful. Okay, just on one side right there. Right about there. Okay, do the same thing on the water. All right. Then I'm gonna grab a little bit of this yellow, actually, just pure yellow. Work also transparent with water and yellow. And add some highlights here. So on one side of the tree. If you added too much yellow, you can always go back and cover it with white. So make sure that it's balanced well. But if you like what you see and you like that yellow, then leave it. Okay, so there you go. And then I'm gonna grab this white and just on the edges right here, go over and add the white. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is fade this area out from the bottom upwards. And so I'm gonna grab a little bit of this darker color here. Maybe I'll mix it with my red here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just any dark color and just pick it upwards like this. On the bottom here. And do the same thing in your waters. There you go. All right, now we're ready to add some leaves on our trees. And then we're gonna add a few highlights on the water, and we'll call this painting good. So I'm gonna carry some of this out upwards like this. Go. All right, now let's add our leaves, okay? So we're gonna grab our sponge, just a sponge. I'm gonna rinse it out and squeeze the water out so it could be damp right here. And we're gonna grab our first shade. Let us start with the green color. Let's test it out, see which corner you like best. Okay, and now I'm gonna add a few leaves here, and I'm gonna just dab it lightly. Just lightly. And you don't have to add it too much, you know. I don't want to cover this painting too much with the leaves. So I'm just gonna make it just a few of them, okay? A few here, a few there. This. Okay. And then just some here. Okay. And then all right. That'll be good for that one. Next, add some here on this tree. You can see I'm not adding too much, just on some areas. Lightly dabbing it. Okay. And try to copy it if you can, the reflection. If you can't, that's fine. a little more green here. There you go. Just wherever you want it. All right, then, and then maybe some here. And I think I'll call it good with the green. I ran out. So I'm gonna use my next color. All right, my next color is, let's go ahead and use, I'm thinking, let's use the orange color. Let's just continue on with the orange. Maybe there's a little more here. So try to copy that if you can. No biggie if you can't. Alrighty then. Next. Maybe bring some of this orange here as well. Just put it on randomly. All right, next, let's go ahead and use our red color and make this be red. So I'm gonna add a few here. You don't need to add it everywhere, but follow your branches. Maybe add a few on the other tree right here. And bring it over on to this tree. Just a few. Okay, just a few. Okay, bring it over here. Since this tree is the biggest, we're gonna add more here. And try to copy that on the bottom here. Okay. Okay, just eyeballing it there. Okay, so that looks nice. Let's add a few more orange onto this tree. Okay, maybe bring some on this one as well, this behind, right there. Tap some on here, just to give it some depth. Just lightly. Okay. Lightly. There you go. There you go. That's nice right there. And you can bring some of the red here. Just tap it lightly. All right, then, there you go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is grab red and blue and mix these together. Mix these together right here. And then I'm gonna just add a few of those. Grab my sponge, rinse it out so I won't carry too much of the lighter colors, and mix it with my dark color here. I'm just gonna dab it in my paper towel, and what I'm gonna do is just add a few of these darker ones. Okay? Just a few on your trees. That'll really make your tree pop out, okay? Maybe bring some on this side, lightly. There you go. I think that should do it. There. If you added a little too much, you could always clean it up a bit. There you go. And that, my friends, will be good with these trees. Let's focus on the water and a little bit of the grass, and then we'll call this painting good. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my 1/2 inch artist solid brush and grab this yellow straight out of the tube and just add a few little highlights on the grass here. Just a few. Actually, what I'm gonna do is grab my inch Artist Loft brush. And do the same thing, just grab yellow. There you go, that's more like it. There you go. Add some right in there, background. Do the same thing here. Artist Loft brush and just grab some white, just pure white, and work transparently right in there. Bring that white up in here. Maybe some in here. Okay, there you go. Now what we're gonna do is add the details on the water. So I'm gonna grab this color right here, this leftover. If you don't have that, mix it. It's just white, a little bit of yellow, and a touch of blue. So we just want a lighter green color. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but we just want to add some effects on our waters. So I'm going to start with the lightest color here, work with the water. First, and just with this color, we are going to right there, just cover it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're going to grab our darker green color, dip it in the water, and just randomly add some ripples, and you can paint over your tree if you want a little bit. So here I'm going to add the ripple going across. Same thing here. Create the reflection. use your finger to blend. And then here, we want more of that green color. And then as we go out here, we're gonna start using our darker color, which is the red. I'm gonna grab the red, if I have it. Or I mean the orange. And just continue on. Grab some of this darker red. Add another ripple right there. Okay. Here we're gonna cover it. Like this. We want some of the colors in our water to stand out, so that's why I'm adding a few more highlights here in the water. Without this, it wouldn't look as good. Okay, and then add some in here. And I'm gonna grab some ultramarine blue, just straight out of the tube, and mix it with a little bit of my red. Doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe add a little bit of white in it. That's good enough right there. I'm gonna grab my half or inch artist loft brush, squeeze the water out of it, and then continue adding this color transparently with, as you can see. So adding this red here on the bottom. And then grabbing this color right here, this blue color, right? And I'm gonna add it right in there. I want my water to be a bit darker as we get closer here. Right there. Work transparently. Add some blue in here and around the edges. Lightly, I'm barely pressing. There you go. All right. Some areas could be a little darker. Okay. And a little bit here, just a few more darker areas right about here. And I will call it good in the water. And if you added a little too much, you can always go back with a paper towel and dab it in the water and lightly take it out as much as you want. Okay. So I'm going to take a bit out of here. There. There you go. And then blend it in real quick again. There you go, just like that. And use a little bit of the black. And then here on the edges, we're just going to add the black. Grab our 1/2 inch artist loft and use whatever black you have left. And maybe add a few little rocks in the water or something. Right there. As many as you want. All right. Right there. I think I'll call it good. And then for the highlights, I'm gonna grab my detail brush and just go over it with whatever color I have left. Maybe mix it with a little bit of yellow and this white color that we have. Just a lighter color, and go over some of these highlights, you know, create some highlights in your water. You see, makes it look more appealing to the eye when you do add these little highlights right there. And drag it out with your finger so it won't be too perfect. there. Alright guys, I'll call this painting done. I hope you guys enjoyed making this fall painting and had lots of fun. Please let me know what you thought down below in the comment, and be sure to like and subscribe. I give tutorials every Thursday, so be sure to stick around and stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys have a good week, and take care and God bless. Have fun painting.